Alright, so we're back in my garage. Everything's painted. It's a nice deep black. It's going to match the stand. It's going to match the trim. It's going to look really good. The next step here is we're going to install the basking platform and then that area that's going to hold the nesting box. And to do this, it'll be a couple steps. First thing I want to do is install this sticky vinyl. It's going to take 3 of these basically vinyl fake tiles to cover this wood shape here. And I'll have to cut it to suit a little bit, and let's get to it. Cutting one of these wasn't quite as easy as I thought, so it's a little bit choppy around the edges here. I sanded it down, looks good where the basking platform ramp is going to be. So to actually install this into my frame here, what I'm going to use are these inside corner braces that I got at Home Depot. They are 2 inches long. They look like this, even on both sides. And what I'm going to do with these is one side is going to attach to the wall that we have installed here, painted black, and the other side, because you have 2 holes on each one of these sides, is going to install onto the platform. So this is going to hold it steady. And in the frame, one of the reasons I like to use this bracket is because I don't want this to be permanent. I want to be able to rip it out if anything happens. I'm trying this out for the first time. Maybe it won't work. Maybe something I'm not expecting will happen when the turtles start using this thing and it's above the water. So I want to be able to remove this and replace it or fix it if I need to. So using these brackets will allow me to get this thing out again if that becomes necessary. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to flip around the frame here and attach it all. Do 2 per large wall. So these 2 walls back here and on the side. And these smaller portions are just going to get one of these brackets. And so first things first, install them on the frame, and then I will attach the platform with the other 2 screw holes on this bracket. All right, take a look. 1 bracket, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. These are all very sturdy. They will definitely get the job done. To finish off installing this plywood piece, I am going to use 3/8 inch wood screws with flat heads. Just got these from Home Depot. They have to be this small because you don't want that poking through where the turtles can hurt themselves on a sharp object. So use these really tiny, smallest screw I could get. All right, let's flip this over, see what it looks like. There you have it. We now have our basking area and the spot where we're going to put the nesting box all nestled in there and secure. Looks good. Push the tile down. Again, that's just a sticky tile, so it can come up kind of easily. But I'm actually okay with that because we'll probably have to replace this way in the future. And that'll make that a lot easier. Next thing I want to look at while I'm putting this all together is kind of this little privacy wall I want to make that will give the turtles that are nesting just a little bit of privacy, obviously, but also it'll hide that plastic bin, which doesn't look great from the side view. So I want to cut this extra piece of plywood I have. Let's put this wall up, take a cut, and let's get to it. Alrighty, people. So I got the so far basking platform on my spare tank. So we have the floor surface installed. I cut this ramp into some spare pieces of 3/4 inch wood I had that was used for the walls. It's pretty steep, but you know, they're gonna have to work for it. And the last thing we really need to do here is install these walls so that it'll cover the nesting box and make a ramp, which will be acrylic bent by a heat gun, and then both that ramp and this ramp will be wrapped in ReptiTurf, and this thing will be just about complete. Really excited for the outcome. Alright, sorry about the new scenery. I'm back in my apartment. I got all the big cuts out of the way so I could leave my parents alone and finish this at my own home. And where we were left off was the little ramp I was making up to my nesting box. This was a cut I used with my spare 3/4 inch wall panels that I basically took my table saw and cranked that thing to the it was about 45 degrees. That was the farthest I could put the blade, and then I just cut into the wood, made sure it was the same length in the back, and I got a pretty good ramp here. Turtles will be able to use this. So what I need to do, currently it's 3 different sheets. I need to make it 1 sheet. I'm going to use the 1.5 inch screws, which is good enough for 2 of the sheets. It's not going to get the 3rd one. So I'm going to do 4 up top, 4 on the bottom, and then I'm also going to glue it at the same time using that wood glue max, just to really make sure this thing is super secure and I'm not going to have any problems with it in the future, and it'll be set as it is, never to touch it again. So once I do that and this dries, I'm going to paint it black to match the rest. But really just to protect it from the moisture and use that exterior paint. Because what I'm going to put on top of this is some ReptiTurf. I haven't decided if it's going to be green or brown, but it'll make a nice soft kind of ramp for these turtles to get to that nesting box, and it'll look nice. Because just a black ramp would look kind of goofy. So that's our next steps. I'm going to get on to it, and here we go. This thing's a block, totally secure, got the glue on there. Gonna paint this, and then ramp will be done. Alright, so while we got the ramp drying, and before I paint it, I want to install these walls for the nesting area, and that consists of 2 of that 1/4 inch plywood pieces. This came from that spare 24 by 24 inch piece used to cut out that main piece in here that I tiled. So these are about 6 inches a piece, and they will essentially, take a closer look here, what you're going to see is it's going to make that wall to that nesting area, and then that little piece will go on this side. And like I said, that's so the turtle will have a hard, I don't want the turtle jumping out this way, so this will be a kind of deterrent from them crawling over that wall and hitting that ramp. They're going to have to come around the side. So we have a tile piece on top of a plywood 1/4 inch, and we have these pre-cut pieces that are painted, other than one edge because I had to cut it. And then we have these 2-inch brackets that worked really well for installing this main basking platform area. And so what we're going to do is use those brackets to attach this wall directly to that 1/4 inch tile. I'll show you with the smaller wall to make it a little easier to see. So 2 ways I'm going to make this adhere to where I want it to be. I'm going to glue it along this edge and up along this edge here with wood glue on the sides of this wall piece. And I'm going to use this metal bracket that we've used before for this platform. So that's going to look a little bit like this. So you're going to have that flush on the wall there. Cut it to overhang a little bit. And, sorry. So it's going to look like that. One issue here is we are using 3/8 inch wood screws, which is the smallest screw I could find at Home Depot. And unfortunately, this plywood is 1/4 inch, so it's a little bit too small. And if I just drill directly into this plywood, the pointy end of the screw will go right through it and stick out the other side. I don't want that. I know it's in an area where the turtles probably will not reach and I will probably not touch, but I don't think it'll look good. I could put some paint on it. But I think another way I just thought of doing this was I have a spare piece of tile left that is about 2 inches, which is perfect. So if I take that tile, I cut a thin strip and I stick it to this piece of bracket here. That will give me kind of the shim I need to allow me to screw into this piece of plywood now without poking through the other side. As you can see, it didn't poke through the other side of this whole base unit here. So that's the method I'm going to use here, because we have this very conveniently cut piece, which if you follow my exact dimensions, you'll also have. So that's nice. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to use, looks like, at least 2 brackets for this longer wall, 1 bracket for this wall, and again I'm going to glue it on the edge as well, just to really make sure this thing is well assembled onto this basking area, because the turtles will run into this and they'll hit it and they'll abuse it, because it's in an area where they're going to be pushing things and pushing off things, and I just want to make sure it can take their onslaught of abuse, and I think it'll work out really well. Let's go to it. Alright, so sidewall is installed. It actually took another bracket on the outside here. I'm going to paint over that and hopefully it'll disappear so it's out of view when you're looking straight on at this thing. And now we're onto the sidewall. Again, I'm going to use 3 brackets and hopefully make this thing as secure as I can. Here we go. Alright, so it's not machine shop perfect, but it'll absolutely do the job. As you can see where I cut it, there's no paint, so I'm gonna have to touch up some paint here, and this thing is gonna work out real fine. So if I take my nesting box, fits right in there, perfect. So I just found an awesome piece that I forgot that I cut, and then I just glued it onto that dock that's also drying as well, but it was the wedge piece that I actually got from cutting this ramp. And it's the exact size of the top here. Got pretty lucky with that based on my dimensions. And that's going to be a nice little transition into this guy right here. It's just perfectly level now. Turtles are going to love it. Once that dries, I paint it and then I put a carpet on it.